and Happy New Year! Look excited, Harriet.
I am! I'm very tired, that's all.
She didn't get a lot of sleep last night, she got up to a lot. Alex, like foxes. I was on a really terrible show in E4, but we'll get back to that later. So, we're looking at all the fall animes right now, and we've picked up a few that we particularly want to watch. And there's just billions and billions, we can't do all of them. So we've looked about 3 each. So one of them is Pepipo. It's about a girl who has the ability to see dark spirits. Basically like XXX-holic, but a girl. And her thing is, she gets bullied at school, everyone excludes her, blah, 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 usual emo thing. And her thing is, she collects stray animals. So she looks after them, but her parents won't let them keep them. Somehow, the witch, as she's called, she finds this one squishy pink animal, and her parents are like, okay, fine, you can keep this one. It talks, yeah, because that's normal. It's not a cat or a dog, and it talks, and it eats bad spirits that harass her, so overall useful thing. And the show's just about that, really. And I like cute, squishy things, so yeah! And which animes are you looking forward to?
The first one is Witchcraft Works. Some people might know this one. It was a manga previously, and it's hilarious as hell. Tiny little scrawny guy fancies a ridiculously big, popular girl. Turns out she's a witch, and she has to protect him from every woman in this school who for some reason want him. I don't know why. And it just turns into this most hilarious princess rescue, but with the guy being the most weediest thing in the world. She tries to teach him to fly, she tries to teach him to be a witch, and he fails miserably. And it's just so funny. It's just silly as hell, and I really want to see how they do this.
And we like our witchy, was it Magic Girl animes, don't we?
Yeah.
And Harriet, what about one of yours?
Mine is MAHOU SENSOU. It's based on a light novel about a high school boy with a dark past, and his world is turned upside down after he rescues a girl and discovers magicians are involved, and I know there's 2 schools, and he ends up going to the school where the sorcerers are, and they just end up battling each other. It just looks interesting because I like things when there's like things split in 2 and then you see one side and then
Different
the other.
specifics.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And looking at a wide range of things. Another one that I'm looking at is Strange Plus, and that's actually a small anime series because it's based on a manga series of 2 volumes, so short, which is good. And it's about a boy who becomes a detective, and through the Mikuni Detective Agency, he meets his estranged older brother, and through that, he assists various comedy mysteries, and I'm hoping it will be somewhat funny. Different, sure. If I don't like it, that's the end of it. Woo! We like that. And another one from your list?
Oh yes, I've got the popular one at the moment, which is Nobunaga, The Fall. This is a sci-fi series by Log Horizon, Glot, Macross Frontier, Symphogear for Harriet as well. It's set in a world which has been split into 2, so east and west. This is because of like a big natural disaster called Dragon Pulse. Since then, one side has been doing really good, the other side is at war. And so people from one side are coming over, and you get to meet this guy who's called Nobunaga. There's lots of historical references, like there's a character called Jean Kaguya, the Ark, and Leonardo da Vinci turns up, and I don't know what it is, it just sounds fantastic. Ridiculous sci-fi. History and sci-fi, it's fun.
And your one?
Robot Girl Z. It is girls dressed in mecha. I looked at it.
I half expected to hear
I
Alex
know
talking about these
this
ones.
is it, because I'm not a massive
Switch.
fan of mecha, but I saw it, and it's only like 10-minute shorts anyway, so it's kind of like the longs of Miss Monochrome and stuff like that we've seen, so it's
Let's
not
hope
very
it's
long.
not like Miss Monochrome.
Oh god, no, but you know, like the shorts, but it's about 3 girls who are ensuring the safety, fighting off mechanical beasts from other teams who are trying to steal it. That's all I know, but it just looks really cute, like all the girls in uniform, but with like the Gundam kind of shoulder pads and the headgear and whatnot. It just looks cute.
Pretty.
It just looks fun.
Character design.
I'm hoping it will be funny as it looks.
And the last one on my list is actually HOOZUKI no REITETSU, awkward name because it's actually by the studio that brought you Attack on Titan, aka Shingeki no Kyojin, and it's their latest adaptation, which is by Ugichi Natsumu. The series has been running in Kondoshawa's morning magazine since 2011, so we've got a lot of volumes to cover, and I have no info about it apart from it's a comedy, and I think the studio kind of want a break from the whole over-the-top pressure fighting
of giant titans just squashing people and killing people.
So I mean, because since they did that comedy Howl or love rom-com even, I think this is going to probably take a complete different direction. I don't know if Attack on Titan fans are going to be up for it, but why not? Probably great story. Your one?
Oh, my last one. This is one you wanted though.
Yeah.
INARI KONKON IROHA. This is it's a comedy romance, I think it is, yeah. Fantasy. You meet a girl who has really bad luck in life. She embarrasses her love of her life. He turns out to like someone else who confesses to him. And so she runs off crying, goes to a shrine and finds a fox demon or a fox god and grants her wish of being with her man she likes. Unfortunately, she transforms into the girl who confessed to him, and now she has to pretend to be her, while trying not to take the joy of trying to make him hate her, and doesn't know what to do. So it's just like a comedy romance of just watching her mess up and trying not to be a cow.
That's a twist in the heart, I tell you.
I wish I could have a demon to give me wishes when life sucks.
But no, it looks really funny, and I remember reading a bit of it before, and I want to see what it's like, because I gave up on it, because I didn't know where it was going. But
it's weird and interesting, and we like foxes.
And it has a hell of a twist.
Your last one?
My last one, this would be fun to pronounce. TOARU HIKUUSHI no KOIUTA. Got it. There. It's about a prince who is blinded by hatred and rage and revenge. The reason being is because he's been stripped of his parents and his humanity. So he sets off, on a trip to avenge them, and he meets a girl called Claire, who kind of helps him along the way. And I think it's aerial combat in it. So when I saw the picture, it kind of reminded me of Studio Ghibli.
Okay,
That's why I liked it, and I think it's going to be rated quite high.
Is that on the planes?
Yes. That's why I saw it, and it just looked really nice. I've only seen one picture of it, but I like the storyline. It's not one that we haven't seen recently, because it's very much, we've always seen a slice of life or mechas and stuff. So this is somewhat different that I'm looking forward to seeing. I don't know if it's a movie or a full-on series, but it is one I definitely do want to watch.
And we'll start looking at some of these new animes next week. And now we're going to move on to, sadly, me being on Geeks and everyone's opinion. So, on the 23rd of December at 11 o'clock on E4, you may have watched a series called Geeks. The episode had me in it. So we're just going to talk about what happened, and these two have questions and about the whole process. We got sent to LA to do geeky things, and we didn't know the guys were going to be there. So a lot of the things I'm going to talk about are things that aren't really shown, and a lot of people were unsure if we were known. None of it was fixed. We turned up. We were generally just looking around, and then the guys walk in, and it's like, oh, okay. I clearly asked if there were going to be guys. They said no. Lies. Anyway, once you got over that point, no, none of us were not paid. No, none of us are actors. We just were into geeky things and sent away, and got a free holiday. That's about it, really. A lot of things we were asked to do. If you seriously objected, you didn't have to.
But they tried to make you do it anyway.
Pretty much. Muscle Beach, for one, was not really into watching bodybuilders. I don't know who is. I know one of my fellow females did touch one, but not my thing at all. It's one of those things that people go to Venice Beach for. I don't know why. Unless you're into bodybuilding, right?
I suppose, yeah.
And by the way, the reason why I'm like twitching through the whole scene on the beach is freezing cold. It was the coldest day of the year. We were sitting there, having to sit there in like next to nothing.
And you're in the beach as well, so that's even worse.
It's windy. And they didn't show any of the interviews of us going, it's so cold, we're dying, can we go home now? Yeah. Were there any things about the show that you guys wanted to know about?
See, obviously a lot of the editing is kind of...
Bad.
Yeah.
Really
and
bad.
I'm not being funny. I watched the first episode before you were on it, and Matt Edmondson, you're a dick. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I used to like you before. You're probably paid to this, but I do not like the way...
Apparently he's not paid enough, apparently.
That's probably why he edits it so badly to get revenge.
I'm sorry, but that just throughout, that's why I stopped watching the first episode, because of him, because it was... Some of it was quite rude, you know.
It's a bit derogatory.
Yeah,
it's not very nice. We were sent there because we wanted to show it was what our hobbies were about, not to be, you know, picked on, to be honest. I don't think anyone would go on a show to be told, you know, their hobbies, you know, lame, and that we need to go out and have a social life. By the way, we all have social lives.
Yeah,
I have met the opposite sex before. They're not that bad. In my episode, okay, I have to admit they had issues, but that's because they had girlfriends and they made it very apparent they didn't want to hang out with us because one of the girls was being a bit too forward with them. Sadly, they all took it out on the rest of us, but because of that is why they were quite grumpy. Unfortunately, most of the other guys in the other episodes were a bit better. They were a bit more sociable.
Yeah. I mean, how did you feel the way they edited your story throughout the show?
They did so much footage and they have to squeeze it into 45 minutes. I was actually the funny one. That did not come across at all. None of the bits.
They pretty much edited you as the background person giving evil looks.
That's all I did.
Seconds.
I was the person who was like watching. I wasn't. I was actually hanging out with people, chatting. It's weird because we had opportunities where I actually got to speak to the boys and they were like, oh, you're really cool, you know, we need to hang out and go conventions and stuff. And it's like, oh, you guys do have an opinion on things. You're not just narrow-minded as we've been told to perceive you as. It's really, really hard because we don't know what's going to be shown on TV. We don't know what's going to be edited. They did a lot of interviews where people were paralytic. I didn't drink, so I was okay. But then again, I was probably the most... What's the word? I went with the flow, so if they wanted an interview, I'd be like, okay, it's an interview, blah, blah, blah. But obviously, if they wanted us to say specific things, I was like, I'm not going to say anything I don't feel is true, so I'm not going to. But a lot of things, a lot of issues that I had with Ashley were not shown on the channel. The main issues were actually skirted off. They were kind of, like, ignored. So they kind of had to feel they had to focus on something, and the whole issue then became Taylor, because we had a celebrity in the show. Of course, they had to give that person a bit of advertising, so they bigged her up by using her as the main focus point. We didn't actually hang out with her much at all.
Out of all the things that were shown, the bits that weren't shown, what was your favourite one that you would have liked to have been put in there?
Oh, do you know what? When we originally went to Japanese, I actually asked to go there before we actually got sent out to LA. And the whole point was you take the boys there to show them what our life is about, because our thing was supposed to be Japanese culture, not actually Comic-Con, but it obviously changed later on. But that didn't work out because obviously the argument, and then they had to separately film everyone having their opinions on it, you know. So that kind of sucked because the other episodes everyone got to experience something else, like the whole Quidditch episode. They got to do a bit of science, you know. They talked about science, then they did a bit of Quidditch in the pool. Fun. That's what you do. But no, they kind of segregated us. No one wanted to do anything, and it was like, oh, this was fun.
The guys, because at the end they said, you know, obviously they heard Ashley's side to the argument, but when they said, oh, we'll try and make more of an effort, I know you said they did, but before then, was it like a lot of hostility, or...?
Oh, I think probably the second day, there was so much hostility, they refused to even talk to us. The actual producers came up to us going, yeah, the guys don't want to do any activities with you. And we were like, what's happened? Because me and Becca went to bed, so Ashley was the only person who actually spoke to them, so we didn't know what happened. We never will, I guess. Well, you hear different sides of the story, and then it's like, well, what can you do? After having some opportunity to speak to them, actually, when they got drunk, they were more happy to speak to us. So they weren't too bad. They were just a bit offish with us because of things they'd heard from someone else. Chinese whispers happens. But at the end, it's really nice to know, especially from Brady, he said that, he wished he'd given us more of a chance and that we were actually really nice when they got to know us. So that was a kind of a saving grace. Like, it wasn't a complete waste of a holiday.
And the end.
The end!
Yeah.
I was told that the end scene was going to be taken out. There was a lot of, I don't have to tell you, it was really obvious when bits were staged. Like when Taylor came to see us on the beach. Yeah, because we talked to random people. Like, hey girls,
She just walked up.
Let's go clubbing.
Yeah,
Totally. That's how it rolls in LA.
Yeah, it's the case of, well, we're not doing anything else.
Let's go. Yeah. So the ending scene, obviously in every episode you can see there's an ending scene where they all stand together and they talk about what they've got from the actual experience, and we were all asked individually. As you can see, only 2 viewpoints were shown. I think Luke's, Tony's, I can't remember who else. Ashley, obviously. They did want me to respond to it, so I did. I clearly just repeated what she said, and she took it quite offensively. It's her words, not mine. And there was actually more in that scene, but luckily they did edit some out. Some hostile words. Not from me. No, I'm very PC. And after that, it was a fun journey home. Great airport atmosphere in the same coach. Joy. What was the moral of the story? Just because you have the same geeky hobby doesn't mean you have a geeky friendship. Right on! Yeah! I got sent to America to prove that point, that you can still get bullied in your own community. And honestly, you really don't know someone till you go on holiday with them. I get asked this a lot. Am I still friends with Ashley? We don't talk. We never really were close to begin with, so it's not like I've lost anything, so it's not the end of the world.
But you and Becca are still...
Oh, me and Becca are stronger than ever. If anything, we've become better friends for it. It's a shame she didn't get much airtime. They did cut out a lot of her perspective, which I thought was a bit unfair, because she had some really valid points about the whole situation, which they totally hid and covered up with something else. But what can you do? It's done. I'll live. At the end of it, I got a free holiday, and a lot of people appreciated my fashion sense. So thank you so much for your support, people. Seeing through the episode, because there's always 2 different sides to the story, and I kind of feel hard done by. They didn't show me as the person I was. They kind of edited it out to have someone to be a bad guy where there really wasn't. There was a lot of, what's the word? Misinterpretation, but, at the end of the day, if you don't get on, you don't get on, that's the end of it. So, watch the last episode. The last episode's really good if you like cosplaying and Yu-Gi-Oh! Come to Play Nation. Some of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Players actually come here to play, yes. So, Celeb Hub here. This is us from Otaku Nation, and see us next week for all the new animes.
Bye.